Good evening and welcome to it. It is Monday Night Football on Soweto TV. Ikamalamu Kamzambata as we bring you a brand new show. Hopefully this first Monday is the first of many as we go into what's going to be a cracking football season. So much soccer to tuck into, and already we've had the MTN8 to dissect. So this is a show where if you're looking for analysis, we're going to review, we're going to preview, we're going to just dig into what the coaches have been saying pre and post match and all those things that we've been doing on all the online platforms that you've been enjoying our analysis on. Remember, we want you to join that conversation. The hashtag MTN8 on Soweto TV. It's as simple as that. Discuss amongst yourselves, and we'll bring you into this conversation as I'm joined by a panel that you well know. Folks, I'm bringing people out of retirement here. Mazola Molefe has been busy drawing the ire of Sundowns fans. I took you out of the boiling pot for tonight to put you into this boiling pot. From much the pan to the fryer.
Much better this one.
No. This one is much better. Let's see. We haven't gotten going yet. Mazola joins us from Soka Latuma. And of course, we have award-winning journalist Veli Lemnyandu, another controversial figure, but only because guys, like most of the time, the things you say eventually pan out.
At least here, there's no context issues.
It's
live and direct.
It's live and direct. They don't catch it.
No Shotayana clips.
I know. There might be. We might still cut it down, and who knows what happens
and
then.
Put it out of context.
Yes. We love doing that. That's what makes us us. Troy Walters, thank you so much, sir. The legendary keeper. We're going to tuck into you first up because obviously the big news is that Richard Ofori might be leaving Mamelodi United and donning the black and white of a certain club here on the Highveld. Having been a keeper at that club, having obviously paid attention to his performances, what are this club in Gauteng acquiring, and how big a loss is it for Mamelodi United?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big loss for Maritzburg. Obviously, he's the leader. He's one of the leaders in the team. For me, I think, and also if you're looking at who are they trying to replace him with, there's not much out there. The team in Gauteng, I think they're obviously going to get a lot out of him. Again, leadership, and he's been phenomenal the last 2-3 seasons for Maritzburg, not only as the leader, but also, for me, he was probably one of my goalkeeper of the season nominees for the past season. So in that way, I think it's going to be a good addition for the team that we all know, where he's going to, and I think they've strengthened quite good when it comes to that.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll allow that team to be the one to make the announcement. Obongani Mpande, having renewed his contract last year for 2 more years, he seems to be the main man now. And of course, it puts into question as to whether Ofori Magafiga, does he walk straight into the lineup, or do they wait for the current incumbent to slip up before they put him in? How do you do it? How do you go for this one? We've already seen Tyson Angena at the expense of Happy Chele. Do you expect the same for Wayne Sandilands?
Look, this is Ghana's number one, so there's no question about it. And if you look at, I think Sandilands is turning, 37? So for Pirates, and also they've released Dele, the French goalkeeper. So you can see that they're already preparing. And I think with Pirates now also through to the semi-finals in the MTN8, and they've got the league starting also this week, you can afford to have to say this is the keeper that you're going to use in the league for now. But eventually, it's a no-brainer that he's going there for the number 1 jersey. And also he's coming in at a time when there's a resumption of the AFCON qualifiers as well. So for me,
no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Especially if just from the first game they can give the captaincy to Tyson. So
yeah. Well, I mean, they were saying with that Tyson situation, the coach did say when Happy's not playing, Tyson's captain. Does that seem to allude to the fact that they can't play together, these two players?
No, I think they can. Look, I mean, unless Pirates buy another centre back. But if they don't, I don't see them going forward with just Nyauza and Tyson as the 2 natural centre backs, and then you've got natural wingers sort of bombing forward. You'll have a situation where they need guys that are the old school that can play those positions. So I think at some point Happy will play together with Tyson. But I think the idea of bringing Tyson in, yes, he will be 31 next year, but it's the long term. He might play. I mean, he's signed it, and it's unheard. It's unprecedented that at Pirates you get a player signing a 4-year contract with an option to renew. But Tyson has done that, which means they want him there for the long term, you know. So he'll probably be there like Wayne Sandilands now. They're turning 37 soon, and maybe Tyson might stick around until he's closer to 40 if he's healthy and fit as well. Sure. So look, the coach did explain it, but it makes sense to me. I mean, he's the Bafana captain, he was Vets captain, so it's a no-brainer that with his leadership qualities, you've seen it happen all around the world. The guy comes in, he was captain at his former club because of his qualities and his character. It's easy for the coach to say, here's the armband, you know, because he's a natural-born leader, I think.
I think from what Coach JZ was explaining, maybe some were also expecting that when Happy was brought in, Tyson would hand in the armband.
Give it to him,
you know. But then again, you look at the time, and already they are pressured at the time. They're trying to protect a 1-0 lead.
Who's thinking about passing on
armband? Exactly. So, but I also think that at the age where Happy Jele is, as much as he's the leader of the team, but also you need to use him wisely. You know, you need to manage him. But even though it was the first game of the season, you would expect that these guys have been doing promotions and all those things together. But look, when it was explained by the coach to us in the post-match presser, you kind of understand where he comes from. But I think one element that we also need to emphasize on that at the age where Happy is, he needs to be managed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at Lucky Lakwati, he captained up until 38.
Yeah.
So it could be something like that also, with a continuity for Happy Jele for longevity, and then obviously Tyson coming in for the long run.
So you see a sharing of the load.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, but then they must give Happy a longer contract. They can't keep giving him 1-year contracts every year. 1 year. I mean,
and now there's been a precedent that's been set
in
their very own
so
club.
if that's the plan, then give him a 4-year contract and say, look, we're gonna manage your game time now, but Tyson is more sort of your successor. But you know, the guy waits until 30th of June to be given a new contract. It's a bit of a joke, really.
Sundowns gave Kekana how many years? 4 years?
4 years.
Exactly.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
There we go. So make the man happy. It's as simple as that. As we keep it moving, as far as AmaZulu are concerned, Mr. Zungu, he's starting a bit of a revolution there. You know, he's gone in, he's shown his ambitions. I think the most respectful thing that a lot of the fans appreciate is the fact that he's come in, he's taken over the club, he's kept it where it's always been, and he's just thought to himself, let me put this on a higher level. You know, he's aiming for a top 4 finish. Might be a bit ambitious, but they've gone on a bit of a recruitment drive. I mean, we've seen now. A lot of people were thinking that maybe Ushawa was a Pelele Naturina, you know, a nice swan song to his career. It's not panned out that way. Usa AmaZulu, along with some other famous faces. Let's talk about this. Ngoba Shaba is a signal of intent, but then you look at the other players there. I mean, you've got the likes of Utkola Mlambo and Linda Mtambo still being rumored to come into the fold. But already, Memela, Skakani, and you've got Mulenga, 3 players from Pirates going in the Valley. This guy is showing that he's not just here to make up the numbers.
You know, it's interesting that Mr. Zungu is a self-confessed Pagania, and
he gets all the Pirates players.
And you can see.
I couldn't buy the team. I'll get some of the players.
Yeah. But also, I think, interestingly, the story of Shaba. You will recall when we were handing out as SAFCHA, we were handing out the award recently to Mshishi. And that's where Jasmine Mahlakane was also the agent to Shaba.
Right.
He did say that Shaba will be unveiled soon. And I know that Shaba is very close to the Zungu family. So when that move happened, then they bought the status. I was like, okay, I see where this is going. Right. And today we saw the confirmation of that. And Shaba has been out of football for close to 15 months now. But there was no doubt about his quality, even when he left for Turkey, when he left Kaizer Chiefs. Because I hear people saying, but he should have retired by now. But well, Shaba is a model professional footballer.
Yeah.
You know, how he conducts himself. I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised that he will be one of the players to watch for AmaZulu, you know. But also besides that, it's the brand that he brings to the team. And when you are bringing, you're ushering in a new leadership in a team like Usutu, and you bring in someone like Shaba, you are changing that. AmaZulu now suddenly is not just about it. It's not just a team from KZN only, but it's the team that wants to have the attention of the whole country. You know, so I think that's what Shaba brings for me. So Shaba's signing. If you notice today, and you look at the kind of attention, the coverage that they're getting, it's not just here in South Africa only. You know, so it tells you the intention of bringing him to Usutu.
Okay, so there you have it. I mean, looking at the players that have kind of joined, I'm surprised by Luvuyo Memela, Shwaib. I mean, you know, he struck me as, if not a fan favorite, a player who was quite useful to the cause. And now he's been sent to AmaZulu. What do you make of that?
No, you see, I think it's also with who they brought in at Pirates. And they obviously have to make way with certain players. And certain players will understand that they're not going to be featuring much. And that is why I think it was probably a best move for him as a player. To get more regular game time. I mean, it's a competition in Pirates now is a little bit harder with the players that they brought in. So in that sense, I think it was good for him as a player to go to AmaZulu. When it comes to the other players, I think it's good for AmaZulu. It's something that we've always been speaking about for AmaZulu. Bring in experienced players, bring in players that can work with the team. Because every year you kind of look at the AmaZulu squad at the beginning of the season and you say, is this the... You know, they've got the resources, but they are actually a team that can compete with the resources that they have. Now they've just shown it with the experience. I think they're going to be a well-balanced team, and I think they're going to do well this season.
We'll look forward to that. It's always more interesting when you have a lot more players, and teams rather, making things interesting as far as the DSTV Premiership is concerned. MTN8 was on the go at the weekend. We'll be back and review all the action that happened. Don't go too far. Welcome back to Monday Night Football. You're live on Soweto TV as we chat MTN8. And remember the hashtag. It's MNF on Soweto TV. You can join the discussion, Peter Ushwaib, Veli Limazola, as we now reflect on the newbies in the league up against the current holders of the MTN8. It's a team that have obviously taken over from Bidvest Wits, and that is TTM, who took to proceedings on the weekend with an entire squad of 14 players. FIFA says you need 7 to play a game. So they had twice.
They had more than
they had more than enough, according to FIFA. Yeah, I mean, you know, I hate to be always bringing them up in this kind of same breath of mismanagement, of just not doing the basics right. But TTM are here. And, you know, they kind of clawed themselves back into that game, but, you know, leading up to it, the disruptions, the disorganization. What do you think this does for the rest of the campaign?
Look, I would argue, you know, on paper, their squad, they are here and they are here to stay. If you look at the squad on paper, we were saying maybe a little bit imbalanced in the sense that maybe you need a couple of centre backs, natural positions and that. But because of the admin blunders, you know, that could be their Achilles heel. You know, if ever they were to get relegated, docked points, whatever, it would be because of the administration. I think on the pitch, you know, they've got something there. Even I think they were three goals down. Yeah, 3 goals down. Then they clawed their way back almost. You know, so that kind of sets the tone for the start of the league championship proper. But having said that, if the admin blunders continue, I mean, they've got another week now in which to sort out the registrations and get clearances from former clubs and whatever. If they don't do that in the next coming weeks, that sets the tone. I mean, they've also been issues of players not getting paid. You know, how do you buy a status, promise everyone the sun and the moon and the earth or whatever, but then the first month where you have to pay salaries, you pay them half, you know, or you pay them a percentage. And then you still say that Bidvest Wits are the ones liable for a percentage of that salary. You know, so you setting yourself up for failure. And remember, the FIFA laws have now changed with regards to salary payments. Players can walk out after a certain point in time if they're not
2 months.
2 months if they're not getting their salaries. They can go and go to a dispute resolution chamber or straight to FIFA if you're an international player and you can get your clearance and walk away, you know. So they have to be careful of that. If salaries are not paid now, as has been the case, and the end of October or November, then you have a situation where it could be actually those 7 players.
They could push the boat out and see if they can handle it with 7 players.
Exactly.
Shoaib, I mean, looking at this game, obviously for Supersport United, it's about them holding on to the trophies, a title defense for them, but also that continuity. I mean, they haven't made too many changes. It's the same old faces kind of doing the same thing in terms of securing results. Hobla gets on the score sheet in this one. Ikram Reyners in his debut gets on the score sheet as well. So for Coach Gaetano Tembo, he'll be looking at his side and thinking, whew, thank goodness my administration's on point. I can just focus on matters on the field.
Yeah, you see, at the end of the day, they're quite successful when it comes to cups, Supersport. They know how to manage games well. They know how to play these games, especially, like you see, they pushed for the first half an hour, pushed for the goals, got the goals. Took their foot a little bit off the pedal, allowed TTM back in. But yeah, with a certain degree of continuity, yes, it is there, but they do need reinforcements. I mean, looking at the back line, sitting with mid-30s, right across the back 4, the Basera, Kumalo, Daniels. So they're going to need some reinforcements there for the longevity for the season as well. I mean, you can't expect them to be playing 35, 40 games for the year.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, looking at that, you know, we speak about how close it was because this weekend, lots of teams played 3-0 up. Then you look at the full-time score, 3-3. They were close, showing that, you know, even Coach Masuta said, here's a guy who hasn't been playing in so long, but can still step in, first game of the season, show his quality, score 2 goals.
Yeah, look, I think Ele had signed a pre-contract with Bidvest earlier this year, so maybe on the admin side, I would commend them for pushing him through, because at some stage I thought he was not even going to go there.
Right.
You know? Yeah,
right.
But going back to this point, I don't understand how you cannot register the 7 players, which are your players.
Yeah.
You know, these are your players.
For sure.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, these are your players.
Yeah. You should have started there.
Nebulamba, Ndondlo.
Yeah.
You know, these are some of the boys who are carrying this team.
Yeah.
You know, and then you say you didn't know where you're going to get the clearance. I mean, these are your players.
Yeah.
So the season finished a month ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the level. So for me, the issue here is that I would really like to see the first instance body at the PSL which approves the club licensing. Because clearly, this team doesn't meet the requirements. You know? So,
hey, he's going too deep
Yeah, he's
now.
going
no,
deep.
seriously, no.
You said it, facts.
No, but it goes deeper. No, because it goes deeper.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, there's a case of Buhlem Corners, you know?
Sitting at home now.
Sitting at home.
Such a quality player.
They've not called him to come and train. They have not given him the clearance either.
They've not paid him.
They've not paid him
salary.
his salary.
He's signing on fee.
You understand? The signing on fee was supposed to come in August or July. They're still waiting for that.
Yes.
Yet they're claiming that no, they took over the club after the 5th of September. Hello?
But they bought the club as a going concern.
So
Exactly.
what happens now? The league has to come in.
No. Now, I think they are going to go the legal route.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a club that has already been reported at FIFA by the new Cape Town Spurs coach,
Herich.
Vladislav Herich.
Yeah, he's done
Remember,
well.
there was a case earlier this year
7
about the
months.
same club where they had to take an advance from the PSL
Pay the guy.
to pay to sign Nyondo, right?
Yeah.
You understand? So, not at this level.
I agree with you. I mean, but what does the PSL do in this scenario, Mazola? Sounds a better thing.
Look,
Because I mean,
I-
obviously this club can't carry on like this.
Look, I don't think the league's gonna step in unless, you know, those who are owed money go the dispute resolution chamber or they go to FIFA, because obviously the league does not want the matter going to FIFA, you know, because it ruins their reputation. You know,
But, sorry man, my question is,
Yeah.
who approves the purchase?
of course, it's the
Because-
Exco. So the Exco, someone was saying to me over the
So
it's
that
a
is
good
where-
question.
Yeah.
Someone was saying to me over the weekend when we wrote the story about the 14 players instead of, you know, a normal 18-man or 20-man squad. To say then the PSL Exco must answer because they are the ones who approved the purchase. You know, they only looked at the documents to
Right.
make it to make them compliant
Yeah.
with being able to purchase a status and become a top flight football, club. But in terms of how they run their business in-house, obviously, look, I'm not trying to defend the Exco, but I don't think they would have, had...
They don't micromanage them.
Yeah, they don't micromanage, that's what I'm saying. Only when the affected parties then go the dispute resolution chamber route or the legal route or whatever the case may be, then perhaps maybe the Exco steps in. Because as it stands now, I mean, TTM as an institution, that's promoting them as a smolanyana, whatever. Now they're obviously embarrassing the league in the bigger scheme of things, because you've had such a successful entity for so many years since the launch 1996. For sure, you've never really had these sort of issues. Not that I remember. Anyway. Right. Now all of a sudden you have the player radia shorta.
For sure.
You can't get. You don't know how to get a clearance. How do you know I can get a clearance?
The other one is playing. The other one is wearing an Adidas sock. The other one is wearing a Kappa sock. I mean, really.
Oh, guys. I mean, when you put it like that. Oh, hold up. Club licensing has entered the conversation. Surely that's what it's about. Having a set of rules, Schwabe, where everybody has to, at the bare minimum, work to this certain standard. And we're not seeing it. You have Amazulu who come in, new managers, they're uplifting the league. The other new team, disrepute. I mean, I don't expect this from TS Galaxy. They also seem to have their ducks in a row. Yeah. So to have such a weak strut to this big structure that is the league.
Yeah, my concern is right at the beginning, there was already smoke in the fire, smoke over there when they were a league below. So there was already, there was something there. I mean, there was already disputes and things like that. So that should have been a concerning factor. I understand when Mazola is saying, if you look at the institute itself, they can sustain themselves. But they're already showing trouble the league below, so that should be the concern, not about how you can manage how you can sustain your club. You had trouble already, sort that out first and come, that for me. And I think to a certain degree the PSL must take some type of responsibility, because you can't tell me, look here, Kamsa's gone to jail 5 times, okay, Kamsa comes out, no, he's a good guy. No, he's gone to jail 5 times, there's a reputation there.
For sure.
So now that's my concerning factor. I don't care if he's got R1 million in his bank account, he can sustain something. No, he's gone to jail 5 times.
Right.
So that is my bottom line. So my still thing is PSL needs to answer to a certain degree for the shambles that certain people, like the journalists, has predicted.
Yeah.
They've predicted it.
Okay. Well, there we go. So maybe if you're a fan of TTM, you're listening, you can maybe, engage us and tell us what your team are doing and what they're doing right. Because right now, like Schwaber said, it's been shambles. Hashtag MNF on Soweto TV. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Good Monday Night Football on Soweto TV. Now, at the weekend, it was Rickerink versus Zimbabwe as the German got one over his Dutch colleague. And of course, it now means that since 2011, there might be an opportunity to break the duck and break the spell for Orlando Pirates as they go in search of this MTN8. We're about to discuss it, but before we do, let's catch up with both coaches. This is what they had to say after the encounter.
We had a plan the second half to at least stay together and find the moments to pressure. And I think we dominated the game from even I think the moment we played with 10 men, and also I think a big part from the 11 against 11. And then you hope by every time putting a little bit more players forward to create chances. And we have players who can. We have good players, and they can play in zones. And if they give away the zones, then we can play even with 10. So there were zones. We have good players, and we played with those players in the zones that were free.
Chele is normally Happy is normally the captain, is the club captain, and when Happy is not in the game, then is Tyson the captain. As Tyson is a national player, is the captain in the national team. We have the quality for this. Happy also, we have a lot of good players. They can lead the armband, but in the most of time, it's not important which guy have the armband and which guy have the quality for lead the squad. And Happy and Tyson, maybe Siki or other players, they are in they have a close circle and manage this very well. And it's normal. It's not a problem for Happy. It's not a problem for Tyson. It's not a problem for the squad.
They had a clean sheet at the weekend, so I'm sure he'll feel vindicated, Uchezi, as we now maybe focus on the fact that, you know what, a lot of people looking at that game saw how Cape Town City were in the mood. And you have to think to yourself, if that red card to Lake hadn't happened, you know, do you see a different game? But at the end of the day, you know, Pirates managed it. The coach speaking, saying that 3 weeks to bed in a system is not enough. You know, he needs a bit more time with these players to get everybody better. And of course, there's Zuka Manja, you've got Hotto who's joined the team. So can you see this new project that Zimbabwe is trying to craft?
Look, I think it's a super team, you know, and also to be able to beat, okay, fair enough, Cape Town City had a man sent off, I think, after 36 minutes or whatever. And remember, Cape Town City were the team of the bubble, in my opinion. I think they were the best team in the bio bubble. And they were carrying on that momentum. And you could see how they started that game. If it wasn't for Farhi getting a bit of a hot head with that challenge, I think there could have been an upset there. But be that as it may, Pirates get the goal and they solidify and they're able to win the game. Like I say, I think this team has to challenge. I mean, there's no two ways about it. You can't take a job to become a Pirates coach and the mandate is nothing but to win the championship or silverware. I mean, it's been 8 years since they won the league. You know, I think what, six since they won a cup.
Yeah, 9 years since they won this one. Yeah.
You know, so you see with the signings that they've made. I mean, Mango, Jukamanja, you know, Vets light. There were six previous Vets players in that lineup, and Vets were a super team.
Right.
You know? So I think great things for Jay-Z. Obviously fortunate to keep his job because Gavin Hunt was the man earmarked for that position. But he got his job now, still has 2 years on his contract.
Right.
Let's see what he can do.
Okay, I mean, they're through to the next round where they face Chiefs in a derby. But let's talk of the opposite side. Umfuto bubble for Cape Town City. What's the mandate there? Yes, they're out of the cup, but surely Rickerink also now, with that energy, has to do something.
Yeah, I'm coming there, but just quickly on Pirates.
Oh, you're going via Orlando.
He wants the
via
Pirates.
Orlando.
Yeah,
He's going via Orlando.
Yeah. No, because when I look at, Mazola has just mentioned the issue of 8 years. If you look at the last time Pirates won the league, in fact, the first treble that they won, and then they would go on to do double treble. They had gone 8 seasons without winning anything.
Yeah.
No trophy. You know, and then the first trophy they won was the MTN8. Remember they beat Swallows in Durban, and in the two-legged semi-final they beat Kaizer Chiefs. So. Superstition and we're in Soweto right now and superstition. You know, football people are being superstitious.
Right.
Yeah. But look, fortunately we did ask the coach about this. All the Rickerink, and look, even now he was the coach of the month for the bubble, and we did mention that one area maybe where they will come short. And if you look at the game, it's one area where they were not really effective. You could see that they lack some bite up front. After having lost Kermit Erasmus. They made a lot of money.
For sure. Will it be enough to...
Yes. And I understand that they're getting a striker from Ghana.
Okay.
You know, so let's see. Let's see how are they going to...
Are they getting George?
You must ask him because George Maluleke. You must ask him about that because he knows a lot about that one. I'll leave it to him.
Okay,
that one.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So I think with Cape Town City, they need to find a replacement. For Kermit Erasmus. I'm a bit cagey about foreign strikers because they take time to settle, especially in this league, you know. So, but also here at home, who are you going to get? Especially when you have got Machangura.
Well, that's the thing.
Sundowns,
I'm sure they did, but Shwe, considering that some clubs have a lot of players on their books, this is probably the time now for Cape Town City to try and find someone who might fill the breach. Obviously, Kermit is a big loss. But like Veli says, they've cashed in. How do they make sure they make that money go far?
Look, for me at the end of the days, besides Kermit that they missed, I think who they missed a lot also was Ralani, and he's injured. So Ralani was a big miss. Look, the game plan actually worked. And if you look, they do have a certain degree of continuity because of their playing. Unfortunately, with the goal, and the goal was considered for me against the run of play, because they were literally choking Pirates to making mistakes, and they were capitalizing on it, and they were creating some decent chances. I think hadn't gotten the red card, I think that would have been not an upset, because for me, I actually predicted Cape Town City to win that game. Back on how to cash in with Erasmus, like Valil is saying, foreign strikers, even the defenders also, the foreign defenders, they take about 6 to 8 months to not acclimatize, but to get used to South African football. Yeah. Now you're taking in a Ghanaian striker that is 50-50 at the moment, because you don't know what you're getting. Sure. So rather try and get him, but also get a reliable striker that you know that can give you some goals. That knows the league. Yeah. That knows the league. So then he can come in smoothly. The Ghanaian or the foreign striker can come in. If he's having off games or off months, you still have a reliable. But now they don't have anybody. Yeah. Having Lakay, Tashreeq Morris is not really a goal scorer. So you know, so that is
no pre-season for the Ghanaian striker.
And no pre-season. So there's there's all those type of things. Yeah. But at the end of the day, knowing John Comitas, he will sort something out there and have some competition going up front over there.
No, for sure, for sure. I guess that also brings into focus in Pirates. What do they need in terms of, obviously we've got names that are being rumoured in the goalkeeping department, but where else do they need to start looking to strengthen, especially for this big campaign? You're in the Cup, there's African competition, there's the league to challenge for. Who do they need to bring in? If you were sitting there part of the technical team, Velile, where do you strengthen?
Yeah, but I think one thing that has impressed me about Pirates, and it's different from previous seasons, is how they've tried to trim the squad, and in terms of the numbers. I know that they are still going to add. Also, another area where I have to commend them, because Pirates, they don't promote a lot from their development academy, But now I see that they will be promoting 5 players from there, which is something that is commendable, because if you look at the bubble, most teams were introducing new talent. Sure. If you look at Gavin Hunt yesterday, he had about 7 academy players, 5 of them on the bench, 2 were also starting, So I felt that's something that Pirates now maybe to do. Maybe, I'm not sure, I think at centre-back, I thought that was maybe getting a younger centre-back. That's something that I was going to expect from them. In terms of strikers, I think they are sorted there. And also someone like Terence as well, to relieve the pressure from Mango.
Okay, well, there you go. In terms of some of the bodies that could come in still and strengthen a side that has already made sure that they through to the next round against Amakosi, who will be discussing their encounter in the MTN8 after this little break. Please do join us for more on Monday Night Football on Soweto TV. Welcome back to Monday Night Football on Soweto TV. Amakosi Jabulile as they go in search of their 16th MTN8 title, as Gavin Hunt has shown that he's very good when it comes to cup situations, and he's proven it against Mamelodi United, who started brightly, but Sussman rescuing that result. We caught up with both coaches to find out from them their impressions of that MTN8 encounter.
In the first half, I thought we absolutely dominated. We should have come in at halftime at least 3 or 4, 4-0 up. We were exceptionally good in the first half. Our pressing, our transitional play, the chances we created, and we didn't punish them the way we should have in the first half. And we exposed their weaknesses, but we didn't capitalize on that, and we spoke about it at halftime. And then I don't know what happened in the second half. Complete different team came out.
I thought the first half we were all over the show. We were really poor. They did well. They pressed us. They played balls in behind us, down the sides of us, which we certainly we didn't deal with. Our back four was really being stretched all over. So, and then changed 1 or 2 things. I thought second half we were very good, and we had some great opportunities in the second half, and we could have made it a bit safer. But it's not an easy game to come from behind, and So most important thing is to go through. That's the most important thing.
There we go. Happy with the result, of course, sets them up for a double header against their old foes, Orlando Pirates. As we see that one, I mean, Shoaib, looking at that result, so much pressure from Eric Tinkler's men. You would have thought they would have kind of had, you know, some sort of a foothold, especially more than just one goal come second half. The coach even mentions it, but that lack of killing off games will always encourage the other side to come back.
Yes, no, it will. But at the end of the day, is also to answer that question is if you can't score the second or the third goal, then you just close up shop or you defend properly. For me, Kaizer Chiefs never played well. The goal that Maritzburg conceded was pushing both fullbacks up, intercepting the ball in the middle, and obviously they were exposed as a back. So, and that is how you could see Eric Tinkler and Maritzburg were trying to win the balls there, and then obviously hit him on the transition very quickly. My concern, just to wrap it up like quickly, with Maritzburg was it was poor defending. Very, very poor defending off set pieces. First things first is you cannot have, when you are marking zonal, 4 players in one line on the edge of the 6 yard. Because zonal marking means when the ball comes in your zone. But how do you determine when the ball is in your zone, it's your ball?
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So an exact set piece, as anybody's ball to come in and intercept, because I'm waiting for a ball, he's waiting for the ball, expecting I'm to get it, you expect. So that, and they should have learned from the first time, because they conceded, and then it happened immediately after that again.
What becomes the role of the goalkeeper, Bandle in this case, in terms of organizing that set piece? And in fact, one of the things in the post-match conference that Eric Tinkler was also talking about was that doing their analysis, they know that Kaizer Chiefs set pieces. Gavin Hunt set plays. Of course. If there's an area where they're going to... So I'm trying to look at the absence of Ofori and having Bandle and in terms of organizing.
Yes, that's exactly my point, because from a goalkeeping point of view is, if you're having a zonal players on the edge of the box, anything on the edge of the 6 yard, anything to the left of them is the goalkeeper's ball, which I felt he could have gotten this for the second goal, not the first one. The first one was just over the guy that was on the near post.
Right.
So that's very, very dangerous. That's the hardest part for hardest space for a goalkeeper to cover is that near post.
Yeah.
So that, but that, like what I'm saying, because Kaizer Chiefs, for me, yes, they brought on Castro, which did well under the circumstances. Blom, he done amazing.
Yeah.
Happy, brilliant. I mean, that's one thing that I like about Gavin is the players that he's introducing, and I see a good future for them. They came on and they made a difference. But at the end of the day, they could have closed up shop because only those 2 set pieces. That was the issue.
Sure. There we go. I mean, he's right. 2 set pieces, they get killed by that. But, you know, you look at Sussman, some people will doubt maybe his defensive credibility, but looking at how he contributes in set pieces like that, you can almost balance it out and say, listen, he might get caught out. He's a modern fullback, runs up, might get caught out at the back sometimes, but if he's getting a contribution as far as goal scoring and winning goals, you can almost excuse it a little bit.
And also I think tactically what Gavin also did differently, because Gavin is one who believes in fullbacks, not wingbacks. You know, so if you look at what he did differently, they were playing the high line in the first half, but you had Frosler now and Sussman more sitting, not just going, and also they were more compact like they were in the first half. If you look how they were caught there, but also. I think the veteran, for me, I hear that he's also been buzzing since the new coach arrived, Parker,
right?
You know, and being played at the far right,
sure.
Especially in the second half. I mean, the first attempt that he had hit the upright, and he had 2 better chances. There's a chance where I thought he was going to roll the ball to Parker, but in fact to Billiard,
right.
But he opted to take that one himself. So I thought for me. And those were the moments. But one of the things we also spoke about yesterday, and I saw this at Bafana training, the players have really been struggling with the fitness levels.
Right.
And you could see the high pressing that Maritzburg were also coming up with in the first half. They couldn't sustain it in the second half, you know. So I think that's why sometimes I don't read much into the first games of the season, because you're going to see these things.
Sure.
But look, the momentum now is also important going into the second week. But as Gavin Hunt says, especially to start at Kaizer Chiefs, with the challenges that he's having of not being able to sign players or to register players to be through to the next stage, it's a bonus for him.
No, for sure. And I was about to touch on that, Mazola. The fact that you got the injuries, you got unavailable players, you can't sign players. This is the best case scenario to start with a victory, buy yourself a bit of time as players start coming back into the mix. And as we get closer to that ruling as to whether you can bring in players. But you know, he'll look at the situation and say, you know, I've done well for the situation I'm in, but obviously now the expectation will be to build on that.
I don't know if he can buy himself time. I mean, it's Kaizer Chiefs. You know, you come in, you are expected to deliver. I mean,
even under the circumstances?
Even under the circumstances. It's Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, he came in, he took the job knowing that there's a FIFA ban. It's not like it happened just after he signed his contract.
Right.
You know, the FIFA ban was issued out in February, you know. So, I mean, months before that, there were talks for him to come join Chiefs. He took the job knowing. I mean, if he wanted a situation where he could buy players and change the team, he could have gone to Pirates, where he could have been able to do that and have an open checkbook, but, you know, he chose Kaizer Chiefs. So I'm not going to, you know, feel sympathy for the coach or whatever. He has to deliver. And he said it himself that he thinks the players that he's got, you know, have got an opportunity to prove themselves again, because they lost the league title in 20 minutes before the season was over. That's when they lost the league title after leading for so long. So those players, which yes, you could argue we need to see if he can play different type of style of football to what Ernst, you know, Ernst got obviously criticized quite a lot for helicopter football, set pieces or whatever. But are we going to see different style of play from Gavin with the same players, you know?
Well, so, that's what he alluded to. He said he needs to sometimes have a reference as Castro, sometimes I need to play a different way.
I mean, Billiard already, I think, you know, for me, what you take out is Billiard with two very good deliveries. You know, after only two goals last season, and really,
and he could have gotten on the score sheet
not really doing much the previous season, but now the first game he gets 2 assists and he looks lively. So let's see. Yes, the FIFA ban, of course it's a challenge, but like I said, the coach took the job. No,
he knew.
I think the problem is going to be there in the midfield, because there in the midfield, in the squad that is currently has now, you don't have a George. You don't have a George. You don't have a Gavin Hind type of a player.
You
know, no. Now I'm talking about the squad that they have now.
Right.
You know, Gavin Hunt. You know, he likes the ball. You know, he likes a holding midfielder who's very good on the ball.
Right.
You know, if I was looking at Akumu yesterday and you look at the pass selection sometimes, you look at the ball, how many times Bakas was also losing the ball as well, you know. So for me, I think in the current squad, where he will come short, because it's also about how he wants to play. And you saw how he wants to play. The second half, for me, despite the fact that, okay, Maritzburg also had their own issues.
Sure.
But how they came back. And this is where I feel that a player like Njabulo Blom is going to now own a position in that team going forward.
There we go. That's a keen observation. Only time will tell if that is indeed the case. The new blood that's being blooded at Kaizer Chiefs, will they stand the test of time, as we're about to on these Monday nights right here on Monday Night Football on Soweto TV. We take a short little break and then we'll focus on one of the biggest upsets as far as the Wapa Wapa was concerned at the weekend with Mamelodi Sundowns and Bloem Celtic. Join us after this. Welcome back. You're on Monday Night Football on Soweto TV. Before we get into the next bunch of sound bites, we've got a tweet that's coming here from Musipo Chule. It says, great show, guys. I like your analysis on TTM. I am worried that they might cause problems going forward and maybe ending up in FIFA courts. Well, there are players up north who are thinking, yeah, me too, my guy. As we're looking at this game at the weekend where John Maduka got a famous scalp against the Three Wise Men. We caught up with the head of the Three Wise Men and Mr. Maduka himself after that result. Here's what they had to say.
Yeah, very difficult game. It has never been easy playing against Sundowns, one of the best teams in the continent. We knew that they would take the game to us, and what we say to ourselves is that to make sure that we try and defend well and try, you know, to play behind their defense, which it did happen in the first half, though whenever we're in the final third, we're losing the ball so cheaply. our attackers could not keep the ball that well. So it frustrated us a little bit, but second half we came all right. And we managed, we're waiting for that moment to get a goal, and that moment came at the right time. And here we are.
The state of the team, we believe we had a team to win the match today, and we believe maybe with one or two additions of the players that may come back from their medical reasons that they had, we might have a little bit more options to choose from. But one would be naive and unfair to say we lost this match because we did not have a good squad. Because the team that we put on the pitch today was good enough to be able to win this match. And the chances that we got could have easily buried this match, but unfortunately, we lost it. There will be players to be released, but at this stage, we have to look at them very closely because we've got a very big squad at the moment. So we are trying to make sure that we've got a sizable squad that we can be able to work with without too many disturbances. And we are hopeful that in the next few weeks, 1 or 2 weeks, we will be able to have the team that we believe will remain with us, and possibly other players will also get opportunities to go and play somewhere else, because definitely we will not be having the squad that we're having now because there are too many players in training as it is.
There's so much meat on that bone, especially the fact that this clear out at Sundowns is very important ahead of the new season. But I don't want to do the easy trap of forgetting about Bloemfontein Celtic and how well they did to actually get this victory. So let's start there. Sundowns, we're going to get there. But, I mean, looking at what John Maduka has been able to do, Velila, I mean, lots of people saw Siema going to Chipa thinking, okay, the woes are going to begin after we just see some stability. But here's this man who's been there, assess the situation, carrying on, playing to the strengths of this team, and it showed again at the weekend.
Remember, until they lost in the Nedbank Cup final, in the bubble, they were one of the unbeaten teams. And they've done very well in the bubble. But also, look, you want to credit Coach Siema as well, because it's about the momentum, Sure. These guys have all been working together, So that's where it starts from. But yesterday, I felt that by the time they scored, they should have been 3-0 down. Credit must go to Jackson Mabukhwane. For sure. He kept them in the game. As early as the 5th minute, there was that powerful, that strong hand to stop Nascimento's strike. And there was also Sereno at near post as well. So he kept them in the game. For sure. But you also have to give credit to that Celtic team. In the post-match presser yesterday, Coach Mangoba Mngqithi was also saying, the set piece. They've been talking about the set pieces. They've been talking about how dangerous Celtic is on that set piece, because when they were analysing the set pieces, there's a similar set piece where Celtic would put it there at the far post and the header will go there. Right. So for me, I think tactically, but also it's about the composition of the squad, how Celtic comes up with these players, having released top players, but they still come up with talent. I know in the bubble we were raving about Sfiso Mngobeni, and again the boy comes out. You look at the game yesterday, people must know also that there's history there. He comes from Sundowns, this boy, Sfiso. He comes from Sundowns, and then
who doesn't come from Sundowns?
Yeah, and then he left the academy because he was not getting the opportunity. And now, and I think for me, he's on the plane to Saudi Arabia with under 23 surely next month.
Okay, there we go. That's a good, keen observation there by Uvelile Mnyandu, as we just have a look here in terms of what you can expect moving forward in the semi-finals. Those are the matchups: Supersport United versus Bloem Celtic, and of course, double the fun, Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs, with a double derby there as we recap all the results from the weekend in the quarterfinals of the MTN8. And of course, it means that we're hurtling all the way towards the weekend where Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns will get the DStv Premiership underway. And what a cracking way to get things going. And we show you there just some of the other games. How beneficial, Schwabe, is it that, you have these teams who competed in the MTN8, have that game under their belt now to be able to push on?
Yeah, I think for a team like Kaizer Chiefs, it would be good because Gavin Hunt obviously has a few little things that he wants to tweak. And I think he had that opportunity now. Where you could see there was a little bit similarities of Ernest Middendorp in the first half that he wants to iron out. So obviously that would help him to go forward. When it comes to Sundowns as well, it's just to see which type of players they want to use for next week and which players needs to be cleared out because they haven't yet made their mind up.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Well, speaking of a clear out, we are spared. Sindile, we ran out of time. So look out for his article because Mr. Mazola Molefe here will be telling us as to what's happening at Sundowns as far as the purge is concerned. Having brought in so much quality, there's going to be quality on the way out. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on the inaugural Monday Night Football. Really have appreciated your expertise, and to everybody at home who's tuned in, we'll catch you in a week's time. To the crew and everybody that made this possible, from myself, Gamzambata, have a good evening. Take care.